There is a silent force that destroys those who carry it, that of appearing invincible, when inside there is no energy left. Have you ever felt like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? As if everyone around you only sees your strength, but no one realizes that, inside, you're almost breathless. It's like that cartoon hero who smiles after being hit, but we know it hurts a lot. Imagine a glass of water that looks full on the outside, but is actually almost empty. That's how we are when we pretend to be fine. Albert Camus, a very intelligent man who lived a long time ago, discovered something important. Many people who seem the strongest in the world are actually very tired inside. It's as if they wear a superhero cape that hides a heart that silently cries for help. Think about how many times you've said, "I'm fine," when you actually wanted to cry. Or when you smiled at a family photo while your heart was aching. This is the secret we're going to uncover today. Why the strongest people you know might be the ones who need a hug the most right now. What you'll discover in the next few minutes could forever change the way you see the people around you, and perhaps even yourself, because there are secrets inside us that we can't always tell, even when we really want to. We show how, in everyday life, many have become masters at disguising fatigue, smiling when everything weighs on them, and maintaining their role as a support system. Apparent strength is often just a mask of exhaustion. Look around you. That mother who always wakes up first and sleeps last. The father who works 2 jobs and still plays with his kids when he gets home. The friend who's always there to help, even when he's struggling. They all seem strong, don't they? But are they really made of iron? Or have they just learned to hide their tiredness? In today's world, we learn from a young age that showing tiredness is like showing weakness. At school, we have to always appear excited to learn. At home, we often don't want to worry our parents. With friends, we want to appear cool and ready for anything. And so, day after day, we become actors in a movie where our role is to be the strong, the resilient, the one who can handle anything. Imagine you're carrying a very heavy backpack. At first, you manage to hide the weight. You smile, walk normally, even joke around. But after hours of carrying that weight, your shoulders start to ache. Your legs get tired. Even so, you continue to pretend everything is fine because you don't want others to think you're weak. This is the daily life of many people. They carry invisible weights, but smile as if they're light. Albert Camus realized this by observing the people around him. He saw how many appeared strong on the outside, while inside they were screaming for help. It's like that game of hide and seek we played as children, but now we hide our true feelings, our true weariness. Before we continue this journey, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. This content is a deep dive that can transform the way you see your own life and the lives of those around you. I promise that by the end, you'll have a new way of understanding the world, and perhaps even better care for yourself and others. We explore the ability to endure without complaint, to carry pain in silence, to appear solid while everything inside crumbles. This gift of endurance is rare, and because of this, these people seem stronger than everyone around them. Have you ever met someone who never complains? The person who, even when sick, keeps working? Or the friend who, even when sad, still finds the strength to help others? These people have something special, something rare, the ability to carry pain without making a fuss. It's as if they have a superpower. While most of us scream when we hurt our finger, they hurt their whole heart and keep smiling. While many give up at the first obstacle, they face mountains of problems and keep going. That's why they seem stronger than everyone around them, because they can do what few can, endure in silence. Imagine a potted plant that never wilts, even without water for days. It seems magical, doesn't it? That's how these rare people are. They've developed deep roots that draw strength from places we wouldn't even imagine. They can draw energy from deep within themselves, when everything around them seems dry and lifeless. Albert Camus called this silent resistance. It's the ability to face the absurdity of life, all the difficult and meaningless things that happen, and still keep moving forward, like that little ant carrying a leaf many times larger than its own body. It seems impossible, but it keeps going. This rare trait has a complicated name in psychology: resilience. It's like a tree that bends in a strong wind but doesn't break, or like a rubber band that stretches too far but returns to its original shape. Resilient people can adapt to difficulties and keep living, even when everything seems overwhelming. But here's the secret few know. This rare strength isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a trap. Because when you're too good at hiding your pain, people forget you can feel it too. When you never ask for help, others think you never need it. And little by little, what was once your strength becomes your greatest weakness. The mask of strength takes its toll: isolation, misunderstanding, and the loss of moments of genuine care. The world sees the facade, but not the weariness that corrodes within. Being strong comes at a high price. It's like being the tallest tree in the forest. Everyone admires it for its height, but it's also the first to be struck by lightning during a storm, and often it suffers alone. When you're seen as the strong one, others start to think you don't need help. "Oh, she can handle it," they say. "He always gets things done," they comment. And so, little by little, you become an island, admired from afar, but rarely visited. People stop asking if you're okay because the answer seems obvious to them. Of course you are. You're the strong one, the resilient one, the one who can handle anything. Imagine a boy who's so good at cleaning his room that his mother never helps him again, while he continues to help his messier siblings. At first, he feels proud. Over time, he feels lonely. That's how it works with strong people. The more you show you can do it alone, the less help you get. Another high price is misunderstanding. When you finally say, "I'm tired," after months or years of silence, people don't believe you. But you? Tired? Impossible. It's as if your mask of strength has become so glued to your face that no one believes you when you try to remove it. And then there's the loss of precious moments of care. That comforting hug, that soothing conversation, that "let me help you," that makes all the difference. People seen as strong rarely receive these gifts. While others are cared for when they show weakness, the strong receive only pats on the back and phrases like, "You'll get over it. You always do." Albert Camus understood that this was one of life's greatest absurdities. Those who seem to need no help are often the ones who need it most. Like a candle that lights the way for everyone, but silently fades until there's nothing left. I'd like to invite you to share your experience or feelings in the comments. Are you this strong person who carries the world on their shoulders? Or do you know someone like this? Let's reflect together on this invisible weight that so many carry in silence. We created the metaphor of a traveler carrying a huge boulder along the roads of life. Everyone admires his resilience, but no one realizes that with each step, he moves closer to collapse. The strength he admires becomes his prison. Imagine a traveler named Miguel. As a child, he learned to carry heavy things. At first, they were small stones: homework, schoolwork, small responsibilities. Michael was good at it. So good that as he grew older, they began giving him larger stones to carry. "Miguel is strong," they said. "Miguel can handle it," they repeated. And he, feeling special because of this confidence, accepted more and more stones. One day, without understanding how it happened, Miguel was carrying a huge stone, so big he could barely see the path ahead. He was the stone of his family's problems, of his friends who needed help, of the work no one else wanted to do, of everyone's expectations of him. People passed Miguel on the road of life and were impressed. "Look at that strength," they exclaimed. "What endurance," they marveled. Some even took pictures next to him, as if they were standing next to a tourist attraction. Miguel smiled in the photos, even though his shoulders ached terribly under the weight of the stone. What no one noticed, not even Miguel for a long time, was that with each step his knees bent a little more. His back gradually curved, his breath became shallower. The stone, which had initially been a symbol of his strength, was slowly crushing him. One day Miguel came across a sign on the road: "Rest area." For a moment, he considered stopping, taking the rock off his back for a few minutes. But then he heard the voices in his head: "The strong never rest. You'll disappoint everyone if you stop now. No one else could carry that rock like you." And so, Miguel drove straight past the rest area, and the next, and the next. Time passed, and Miguel began to notice something strange. He could no longer remember what it was like to walk without that stone. His body had molded itself so tightly to its shape that it felt like a part of himself. The thought of letting go of it became frightening. Who would he be without that weight? How would people recognize him if he wasn't Michael the Strong? The strength everyone admired had become his prison. The stone that proved his worth was the same one slowly destroying him. And worst of all, Miguel had walked for so long with that weight that he no longer knew how to ask for help. Words stuck in his throat every time he tried to say, "I'm tired." This is the story of many people around us. Maybe it's the story of someone you know. Maybe it's your own story. Like Miguel, many of us carry enormous boulders along life's paths, while the world applauds our strength, unaware that we are one step away from collapse. This phenomenon occurs because society glorifies endurance but ignores fatigue. The individual learns to measure their worth not by the truth of their feelings, but by their ability to endure everything in silence. It's a survival mechanism that, over time, turns into self-annihilation. Why does this happen? Why do some people become so good at appearing strong, even when they're exhausted inside? The answer lies in how our society works and what we learn from a young age. From an early age, we hear stories of heroes who never give up, athletes who ignore pain, fathers and mothers who sacrifice everything for their children. We rarely hear stories about the importance of recognizing limits, of asking for help, of saying, "I can't do it anymore." Society, meaning the world around us, the people we live by, the rules we follow, highly values those who endure everything without complaining. It's as if there's an invisible prize for those who suffer in silence. In schools, we often praise the child who solves everything on their own and doesn't bother the teacher. At home, we say, "Be strong," when someone cries. At work, we admire those who never take vacations. Little by little, we learn that our value as people isn't based on how we truly feel, but on how much we can endure without showing weakness. It's as if there's an invisible competition. Who can carry the most weight without falling? Who can smile even when they're sad? Who can help others even when they need help? And in this strange competition, the prize for the winner is more weight to carry. Albert Camus and another intelligent man named Sigmund Freud, he studied how people's minds work, discovered something important. This force begins as a way to protect us. It's like when you pretend you're not afraid of the dark so as not to worry your little brother. At first, it's an act of love, of protection. But over time, this pretense becomes a habit and then a prison. What begins as a survival mechanism, a way to adapt to a harsh world, ends up becoming self-destructive. It's like being in a leaky boat, and instead of asking for help to fix the leak, you become increasingly better at bailing out the water. You're so busy bailing out that you don't even notice the boat is sinking faster and faster. Psychoanalysis, the study of how our minds work in their deepest recesses, calls this the false self, a version of ourselves we create to survive, but which isn't who we really are. It's like a mask we've worn for so long that we've forgotten what our true face looks like. This is the trap of apparent strength. The more you appear to need nothing, the less the world offers. The more you hide your pain, the less people believe it exists. And in the end, you become a prisoner of the image you've created. Too strong to be human, too resilient to be real. Those who are too strong become a threat to the group, as their differences expose everyone's fragility. Those who appear indestructible are rarely welcomed, because others project onto them a strength that needs no attention. Have you ever noticed how sometimes people shy away from people who seem very strong? It's strange behavior, but it happens all the time. The person who never complains, who solves everything on their own, who always seems fine, often ends up alone. This happens because, without realizing it, those who appear very strong become a kind of uncomfortable mirror for others. It's like when you're in physical education class and there's that one classmate who can do every exercise perfectly, while you can barely touch your toes. Their existence seems to highlight your own limitations. Likewise, the person who endures everything without complaining makes others wonder, why can't I be like that? Why do I need help and she doesn't? It's a confusing feeling, a mix of admiration and discomfort. Albert Camus called this the absurdity of comparison, how we feel awkward when we compare ourselves to others. In families, this is clearly evident. The sibling who never gives you any trouble is admired from afar, but rarely receives the warm attention that the problematic sibling receives. At school, the student who consistently gets good grades without seeming to study much is respected, but is often not included in conversations about the difficulties of tests. After all, it's easy for him. It's as if there's a silent agreement. Fragility breeds care. Strength breeds admiration from afar. Those who cry receive hugs. Those who never cry receive pats on the back. This is why very strong people are rarely truly embraced. Others project onto them a fortitude that they believe needs no one. Psychology explains this as a phenomenon of projection. It's when we place characteristics or feelings that are our own onto another person. Thus, someone who feels fragile projects superhuman resilience onto a strong person, as if they were made of steel, not flesh and blood like the rest of us. The result is a huge misunderstanding. The strong person feels increasingly alone, while others think they prefer it that way. They grow tired of carrying the world on their shoulders, while everyone thinks that's exactly what makes them special. It's as if they speak different languages, with no translator between them. Albert Camus would say that this is yet another example of the absurdity of human existence. How even when we try to connect, we end up distancing ourselves from each other because of the roles we assume or that others give us. I invite you to write the word unload in the comments, symbolizing the need to release the weight that isn't yours alone. This is a first step toward recognizing that no one needs to be strong all the time, and that sharing the burden makes the journey easier for everyone. The greatest risk isn't physical exhaustion, but loss of identity. Living as the strong one causes the individual to fail to recognize their own needs, to the point of no longer knowing who they are without this armor. Exhaustion ceases to be merely wear and tear. It transforms into an existential void. The danger of always being strong isn't just about getting tired. It's not just about sore muscles or sleepless nights. The real danger is much deeper. It's losing sight of who you really are. Imagine a girl who's so good at taking care of her younger siblings that everyone calls her Little Mommy. At first, she likes the nickname. It makes her feel special, important. But as the years go by, she realizes she no longer knows who she is beyond this role. She doesn't know what she likes, what makes her happy, what she dreams for herself. She's become so good at being the strong one that she's forgotten how to simply be herself. This is the risk that Albert Camus and psychoanalysts like Freud feared most, that by assuming roles to survive in the world, we end up losing ourselves in them. It's like an actor who plays a character for so long that when he takes off the makeup and costume, he no longer recognizes his own face in the mirror. Adults call this existential emptiness, a feeling that, inside, there's an empty space where our true selves should be. It's that haunting question that sometimes pops up in the middle of the night. Who am I, really, beyond what I do for others? When you live like the strong one, your own needs become increasingly silent, increasingly distant. It's as if you have a radio inside you that gradually lowers the volume until you can no longer hear what's playing. This radio plays important songs. I'm tired. I need help. I want to cry. I can't take it anymore. These are songs we all need to hear from time to time, but the strong learn to silence them. Over time, this silence becomes deafening. The strong person begins to feel empty inside, like a shell, beautiful on the outside, hollow on the inside. They may have many friends, but they feel deeply alone because no one knows their true self. They may receive many compliments, but none of them seem real, because they are for the armor, not for the person inside. This is the greatest danger of apparent strength. It becomes a gilded prison, shiny and admired on the outside, suffocating on the inside. The person becomes so identified with their ability to endure, to resist, to carry, that they no longer know who they would be without that weight. The fear of letting go of the stone becomes greater than the suffering of carrying it. As Albert Camus once wrote, "In the middle of winter, I learned that there was within me an invincible summer." The problem is that many are so busy being strong for others that they never have time to discover this summer within themselves, their true essence beyond the roles they assume in the world. The solution lies in acknowledging one's own vulnerability, in accepting that being strong doesn't mean never falling, but rather having the courage to rest, ask for help, and reveal what weighs on one's shoulders. Transforming strength into clarity means no longer carrying alone what should be shared. If you recognized yourself in the story of the traveler Miguel, or in any part of what we've discussed so far, don't worry. There is a way out of this trap of apparent strength, and that path begins with a simple word, yet very difficult to say for those who have always been strong: help. The first step is to recognize that being vulnerable, meaning showing when we're weak or sad, is not the opposite of being strong. In fact, it's part of true strength. It's like a tree that appears strong because it's rigid and never bends, compared to bamboo that appears fragile, but survives storms because it knows how to bend with the wind. True strength lies in flexibility, not rigidity. Albert Camus discovered that the bravest human beings are not those who never feel fear, but those who feel fear and still move forward. Similarly, truly strong people are not those who never feel weak, but those who recognize their weakness and ask for help when they need it. The second step is to start listening again to that internal radio we mentioned earlier. Pay attention to the signals your body and mind send. Fatigue, sadness, overwhelm. It's like learning a new language, the language of your own needs. At first it may seem strange and confusing, but over time you begin to understand what your deepest self is trying to tell you. The third step is perhaps the most difficult: sharing the burden. Imagine you're carrying a very heavy box. If someone asks, "Do you need help?" and you always say, "No, thank you, I'm fine," that person will stop asking. To receive help, you need to start saying, "Yes, please." When someone offers a hand, this can mean simple things, like saying yes when someone offers to make dinner after a tiring day. Or it can mean deeper things, like talking to a friend about how overwhelmed you're feeling. The important thing is to start sharing the weight you carry, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Psychology teaches us that this transformation process, from the strong person who never falls to the person who sometimes needs support, doesn't happen overnight. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, you fall a few times. It can be uncomfortable, even scary. But with practice, it becomes second nature. Albert Camus called this transforming strength into lucidity. Lucidity means seeing things as they truly are. It's when you realize that no one is strong all the time, that we all need each other, and that carrying everything alone was never life's original plan. True transformation happens when you understand that your strength lies not in putting up with everything in silence, but in having the courage to say, "I'm tired. I need some time. Can you help me?" These are simple words, but they can completely change your life. It is not weakness that destroys a man, but the insistence on appearing strong when the soul is already asking for rest. We've reached the end of our journey together, but I hope it's just the beginning of a new journey for you, one where strength and vulnerability go hand in hand as they should have from the beginning. What we learned today is a lesson Albert Camus tried to teach us many years ago. True courage isn't about never falling, but about getting up every time you need to. It's not about carrying the world alone, but about knowing when to share the burden. Many of us grew up believing that being strong meant never showing weakness, never asking for help, never letting others see our tears. But life teaches us, often the hard way, that this isn't true strength. It's just a mask that, over time, can suffocate us. True strength lies in recognizing our limits. It lies in knowing how to say no when we need rest. It lies in allowing others to see us as we truly are. Human, imperfect, sometimes tired, sometimes sad, but always authentic. Like a tree that seems unshakable but actually depends on the earth, water, sun, and even the tiny insects that live in its roots. We too depend on each other. No one was meant to live as an island, no matter how strong it may seem. So if you're that person everyone admires for their strength, who everyone turns to when they need help, but who rarely asks for help for themselves, this is your reminder. You deserve rest too. You deserve care too. You can and should ask for help when you need it. I invite you now to share what you're feeling or seeking right now. What weighed on your heart as we spoke? What burden do you carry that perhaps it's time to share? This space is yours to open a genuine dialogue. If this content touched you, please like it and share it with someone you think needs to hear these words. Sometimes a video shared at the right moment can be the helping hand someone has been waiting for. And don't forget to watch the next video on the card, as there are other reflections that can lighten the weight you carry. Always remember, it's not weakness that destroys a man, but the insistence on appearing strong when the soul is already asking for rest. Thank you for walking with me today. Until next time.